Sir Ernest Shackleton was one of the great heroes of the early 1900s when the Antarctic was a big prize. First we were trying to get to the South Pole, and then when that was achieved by Amundsen, Shackleton wanted to go one step further and cross the continent of Antarctica, which he famously failed, actually. He didn't get to the continent at all. But he's remembered for his extraordinary leadership on that expedition, where he turned around one goal to cross the continent to a second, more important goal, which was to get home with all the men alive. And they were stranded on the ice. Their ship was beset and then crushed by the ice and sank, and they were camped, marooned out there for months, and then sort of tipped into the sea when the thaw came, and then made an extraordinary boat journey across to the island of South Georgia. It was so extraordinary. I mean, against all the odds, you sort of can't imagine how it was possible that he succeeded in this and actually got back and rescued all the men. Not a single life was lost. And the lessons around leadership on it are remarkable. It's not so much about achieving what you set out to do, but the way in which he did it, and the passion he had, the deep understanding of people, how to keep up their morale and spirit when really one would have expected mutiny to break out, everybody to be close to mad and committing suicide and all sorts of things. And none of this happened. And so 100 years on, he's really an exemplar leader for all of us still in the business place. I think we're talking largely about value-led leadership. What I experience dipping into businesses quite a lot is that there's a sort of discontent, if you like, between people who are working in an environment where they have their own set of values, a degree of integrity, and yet they're pushed into an environment where they have to compromise that. And that mismatch creates a lot of unhappiness and sometimes ill health. And I think what we're saying is that actually there are ways of doing things. Sometimes the result is out of our control. It was out of his control with the environment he was in, and sometimes it's out of our control with the economic climate we've been in the last few years. But the way we do things, I think, is really, really important. And maybe even, taking a little bit less profit, but doing things in a way that's sustainable, that people feel happy with. And for me, in the long term, that always pays. It's a medium, long-term way of thinking rather than short-term.